guys, Jess here. So in today's video, I am using the gorgeous Bohemian Dreams Cocoa Vanilla collection. I got this in a scrapbooking kit and I think I made one layout and then just have not even touched it. And I have no idea why. It is beautiful. And I don't think I was specifically hoarding it. I just didn't use it, which is such a waste. So when I decided I wanted to make one of these banners, like the wooden one you can see right there, I remembered that I had this kit and I was like, this is going to be perfect. Katie loved this collection, and if this is going to be something that she hangs on her wall, my thoughts are in her craft room, then it would be perfect to be using a collection that I know she really enjoys. So I just looked through the papers there just to remind myself of the colours. So knowing what the papers are, I'm looking through my collection of thickers and I'm pulling out what I think would work well to do my title on this page. So once I've done that, I've sort of narrowed down my choices now. I've got my thickers narrowed down and I'm looking again through the papers, trying to decide what would be the best sort of base for this banner. And I was really thinking if I could, kind of similarly to how that wooden one looks, I was trying to see if I could use that wood grain, but I've cut too much out of it. There's not enough left to be able to use that wood grain. I really love that blue. I think that's gorgeous. I really love that pink. I think that's gorgeous. And I really love that floral. So I'm wondering, and in the end, I think that floral and that pink go the best together. So I'm going to try in some way to incorporate both of those colors. And the thing that grabs your attention about the pink, is that it's got that sort of ombre effect. So I want to try and make the most of seeing both of those colors. So I'm just tracing around this wooden plaque banner thingy that, if you are wondering, is purchased from the Reject Shop in Australia. And that's going to give me my base size, my shape for this banner that I'm making. And then I'm going to cut that whole piece out using my Fiskars cutter, just to make sure it's perfectly straight. And then I'm going to have a look at going into this pinky purple color to see how I can get the best use of that beautiful ombre effect. So, sorry, I'm getting a little bit distracted. So, I found that this banner was the perfect size for what I wanted to do. And I also loved that I had one already, so I had one I could trace, so that was perfect. And it was just really good the way it was just a tiny bit smaller than 12 by 12. It gave me a bit of flexibility there with my pattern paper sizes. It meant ones that I had used a little bit from were still things that I could utilize again this time. So I remember that I had this scalloped washi tape from a different stash, and I really wanted to use it along the top. And I really wanted to get that pinky purple color in along the top as well. So I'm tracing this scallop because I'm imagining that I'm going to do 2 scallop rows up along the top of the banner. So I'm tracing that out and then I'm going to cut it. So I'll just I'm cutting it quite a bit bigger than what the washi tape would be. And then I'm also going to fussy cut with my scissors around the scallop edge, but I'm also going to cut it a little bit bigger as well. So I'm not going to cut it exactly the same size as the gold scallop because I'm not 100% sure yet how close I'm going to put them together. And if I put them super close together, I'm worried that the gold will just cover the whole of the pink and purple. So I'm wanting it to be that the pinky purple scallop is slightly bigger than the gold scallop. So I just cut that out with my scissors. And then once that has been cut, I'm going to place it across the top there like that. And then I'm going to place a strip of washi as well. So I'm just trying to work out the exact placement of how I want the washi to be. Do I want it to be exactly like mirroring, like following the scallop wave? Do I want it to be slightly off? I'm just trying to unroll it a little bit so it will sit a bit more flat so that I can actually see a bit better of how it's going to look. So do I want it to sort of perfectly copy and have the dips going up and going down in the same place. So I'm back to my thickers. Sorry, I jump all over the place when I'm doing this because my brain is making 100 decisions. Now that I'm using the gold scallop, I want to have gold thickers, or plain thickers anyway. So I pulled out the white ones as well. I'm thinking that those colourful ones are going to look totally mad on such colourful background. So I'm umming and ahhing. Do I push it across? Do I have it slightly skewed? And in the end, I decided I like it looking slightly skewed. So I've stuck the purple scallop down with double-sided tape, and then I've just stuck the washi on because it's sticky. And now I've pulled out the ephemera pack, and I'm just making two piles of things that I might use and piles of things that I don't think I'll use, because there's just so much in an ephemera pack. I figure I've got to make some decisions and cut it down now. I can always pull them back out if I want to. Let's just see where my two piles take me, basically. So really, in the things that I won't use, I'm putting sort of word phrases, frames, the really quite bigger pieces, because I know I don't want heaps and heaps and heaps all over this banner, because I still want the text to stand out, the heading I'm going to write with the thickers. So once I've sort of narrowed my choices down a bit, I then want to start thinking about thickers. Now, I cut out a huge chunk of my thicker decision making. Basically, what happened was I decided the colourful thickers were too bright, and then I looked at my gold and my white thickers and I didn't have enough letters. Simple as that. So I had to go to my stash and get a new packet of thickers, something that was going to have enough vowels for the title that I wanted to write. And literally all I had were these brown ones. And I really quite like the font of these brown ones. They look really funky, but I don't love the color. So I'm experimenting on the Z over there on the right hand side with trying to color it gold. Can I get these letters to be gold? So I had a look at my gold pen, and now I've just pulled out a gold acrylic paint, and painting on that gold acrylic paint, I'm like, hang on, I think this is going to work. Here we go, we're getting somewhere. So the gold ink pen didn't work enough, but the gold acrylic paint, I think it's going to be all right. It's definitely putting a nice shimmery shine to it. It might not quite be gold as such, might be a little bit more bronzy, but we're getting there. So I think this is going to work, is basically where I'm at this stage, and this is the decision that I come to, because I don't have any other thickers to use anyway, and I do really want them to be a bit goldy to match the scallop washi tape. So I decide this is what we're going to do, basically. So as you can see, I've actually put my banner inside a big plastic pocket. And the whole reason for doing that is so that I can put my thickers out on the page, out on the onto the banner where I would like them to go, and start sort of staging how I want this to look without actually sticking my thickers on. And I can also do all the painting and things I want to do straight onto that plastic pocket and not worry about damaging my banner. There I am on that letter Z again. I'm just working with a Wink of Stella pen, a gold Wink of Stella pen, just to give the thickers a little bit of sparkle and a little bit of shine along with the paint. So I am happy. This is going to work. Yep, this is what I'm doing. So, sorry, got a bit distracted. So I went and collected a serviette just to mop up a little bit of the excess Wink of Stella that I squeezed out. And I'm now going to pop my title straight down onto the plastic here. And you can see straight away that leaving these thickers brown would not work. You can barely read that on the banner. So even if I liked the brown color, that definitely needed to change. So the title I've got going on is Maker's Gotta, and you can see quite a color difference there in the thickers that were on the sheet on the left and the thickers that were on the sheet on the right. These were gifted to me, and I didn't even notice at the time, but it's really blatantly obvious now. Obviously, one page of the thickers was in the sun because it is quite faded. And the other page of thickers is not in the sun, and I think it is more true to colour. So that's a little bit disappointing for if I want to use these in the brown colour, because they're going to be quite noticeably different colours. It doesn't matter for this exercise because I will be covering them, but yeah, I don't love that. So I'll have to remember that when I go to use them as brown. But anyway, on to painting them gold. So I'm not being super careful with how I paint this on, just slapping it on because of that plastic sheeting being there to help protect it. I was being a bit lazy in that I didn't want to make more things to wash up and to clean up, so I'm just trying to scoop the paint straight from the tube. And then I realized, you can put it down on the plastic, silly duffer. So that's what I'm doing there. So Maker's Gotta Make is my heading. And yeah, just slapping that on. I end up doing maybe 2 coats. I actually found, funnily enough, the thickest that were not sun faded sort of absorbed the paint a little bit more. So I needed to do an extra coat. If I wanted these to be super strong gold colour, I possibly could have undercoated them with a white or something first. But I'm pretty happy with the way they look. So that's the dry-ish paint. It's not 100% dry, but it's a bit dry. And now I'm going in with the Wink of Stella. Now I'm squeezing the Wink of Stella quite a lot more than you would. That M is a little bit too wet, so I'm about to move to a different letter because this is just smudging everywhere. Usually if you were using Wink of Stella on like cardstock or something, you wouldn't squeeze it quite so much and have so much of the liquid come out. But I really want to try and get as much of that gold out on to the letters as I can. So just giving the Wink of Stella a bit of a shake, a bit of a rest, and then my hand flapping there was just drying off the last of the letters, just so making wind, because some of the letters were just a little bit too wet still for the Wink of Stella to be going on. So again, I don't make you watch all this, but just spreading Wink of Stella across the letters. And then once that's finished, I do leave that to dry completely. I think I even do a second coat of Wink of Stella when you're not watching. So there we are. Nice, dry letters, and there's the paint that I used, and there's the Wink of Stella that I used. And so now it's time to start thinking about those embellishments. So I should apologise as well about the glare. Sorry about that. I'm working with the plastic bag still because it means I can place the thickers where I want them to go. But I didn't think about how that would be so glary for you watching the video, so I hope you can manage that. Again, I apologise. I'll remember for next time not to do that during the video. So as you know earlier, I looked through the embellishment packs and pulled out the things that I think I might use. I knew in my head already that I really wanted lots of floral clusters happening on this layout. So I'm just having a fiddle with the different floral. I just swapped over that butterfly simply because of colour. I found that the pink one was sort of... You could definitely still see the pink one, but it was not contrasting enough with the pattern paper. So obviously everything matches each other. It's all from the same collection, but I wanted it to stand out a little bit more than that. So having a fiddle with the different twigs and leaves and coloured pattern paper and putting all that in there. Just looking at the tulle I got in the pack to see if I could somehow use that, but to be honest, blatantly honest, I couldn't be bothered working with the tulle, so I put it away. It's a little bit late now. My little one is still waking up quite a lot through the night, and I wanted this to be a little bit quicker than what creating something out of tulle would be. You may have noticed I swapped that round circle over. That was purely because it was a little bit smaller up in that top right-hand corner. So I got a little bit of ribbon edging that I thought would be really cute just to go around the bottom part of the point of the banner. But I still felt like this was missing something. Like it really needed a bit more 3D effect happening. I was contemplating cutting some paper flowers, like some of the rolled flowers or some of the layered flowers using a cut file. But my silhouette is not really working very well at the moment. I think I possibly need a new blade. And also my little man's room is like right next to my scrap room, and I'm so petrified of waking him up when he sleeps so little, frankly. So I pulled out real flowers. Now, I have the layered flowers there that you can get from many, many stores, but Kaisercraft being one of them. But I decided I wanted ones that were already made, ones that were already created. So these are some Prima flowers that were actually sent to me in Happy Mail. And I don't often use florals on my page. They're not usually something I reach for. So I was actually quite excited to start having a fiddle around with these and see how I could get these to fit with what was happening. And the colours seemed to match really, really well. They didn't all match perfectly, but a few of them were almost looking like they were made for the collection. So I was pretty happy with that. So I had a bit of a play, putting on the different colours, putting on the ones that I liked, and they were a bit too flat. I didn't like how they looked so squished. And I think that's how they're supposed to look, but I didn't really like it. So I actually ended up squeezing them together at their bases a little bit more and sort of fluffing them out a bit more, making them look a little bit more like, in my opinion, real flowers that are opening up. I really liked how that was looking. And I had a fiddle with where I could put some of the other ones, but in the end, I ended up putting them all, apart from obviously the one in the top right, end up putting them all just down the bottom. And I had no intention of using all of the flowers, but because I don't really use them much, I only sort of had one left, I think, by the end. And I'm like, oh, well, I might as well put the last one on. No point in keeping it, was my sort of thought process there. But again, when I started fiddling with the flowers, I realised I needed to change some of the colours a little bit of the paper ephemera flowers. So I pulled them back out again to have a look. I don't end up changing much to really, because I was looking for yellow and there was really only sort of the yellow I'd already used. So no more, which is too bad for me, but oh well. So I'm getting pretty happy with how this is looking, and so I decided it's time to start getting this on the banner for real, actually start doing it. So I keep it all on the plastic approximately where it is, and then I start sticking away onto the banner. So I've got to clear myself a little bit of space. I've made a mess on my desk, so time to pack a few things up. And I want to make sure everything sticks really well. So even though the thickers are sticky, and they are still sticky and they would stick totally fine on paper by themselves, I am adding glue to the back of them anyway, just to make sure they super stick, because this is going to get a little bit of wear and tear being out in the elements once Katie opens it and hangs it on her wall. So I'm adding extra Tombo's glue to the back of all of those. Also, the benefit of doing that is it gives me just a little bit of wiggle room, because it is a wet glue. It's got a little bit of slide factor to it. So if I'm not quite happy with my placement, if it's not quite in the center or what have you, I've got a little bit of room to slide it one way or the other. And that's actually definitely what happened. I tried to start with the middle letters of make to place them in the center of the banner, and you could see I was using my hand there to see that I'd lined them up, but I still didn't quite get it exactly right, so I do end up sliding them across a little bit again. And then also spacing in between the letters. I wanted to try and have it as closely right as I could. So sticking all those down, and then when I get onto the gotta, I do the same, start with that middle letter and try and space them evenly on either side. In a moment, see, I was going to cut this out because you've sort of seen all the placement, you've seen what I was up to, but I sort of stick everything down in a random order. I don't do all the letters and then all the embellishments. I do a bit of everything, and I wasn't sure if it was beneficial for you to watch, or because you'd seen the placement idea, I could just cut it out and skip to the end because you knew approximately how it was going to be. But I figure I'll just keep rolling with it, and hopefully it's not too boring for you watching. So Tombo's glue on the yellow flower, and then I put some foam dots behind the wings of the butterfly to give that a bit of dimension and to pop that up. Now I'm sticking down the word gotta, and as I said, I started in the center just to sort of try and evenly place those letters from the center out. I knew that if I started with the G, I'd end up having it off side, off center, and that's not the look I was going for. So I'm just spacing that because obviously I stuck down the flower and the butterfly before I'd stuck down the godder, and in the end I actually probably stuck the flower and the butterfly a little bit too close to where I wanted the writing to be. But anyway, it all works out. All comes out in the wash. So you can see as I'm sticking on the letters, they are a little bit hard to read. They look much clearer and easier to read in real life. But also just colour-wise, because the thickers were brown, it actually ends up looking a little bit more like copper than it does gold. But I'm really happy with the colour. I think it looks great. Now here I am again, just jumping to another place to, like, why I didn't do the other letters. I can tell you actually why. They were boring. I didn't like sticking the letters down. They were really tedious. I wanted to get in and do the clusters. So I stuck that yellow flower just straight down with Tombows. I stuck the round circle sentiment with thickers, and I stuck the flower with hot glue gun. So I'm using a lot of different things for this. The flower possibly would have stuck quite well with the Tombows glue, but I decided hot glue gun was a safer option for the flowers in this case. I don't particularly love working with hot glue. I'm not always quick enough, and I find the glue dries, and then the stringy bits are annoying and all of that. So, I didn't use hot glue for the whole banner because I don't like the extra sort of lump or thickness it can put behind your pieces if you don't have it put on evenly. And I mean, it'd be quite difficult to put hot glue on evenly. So yeah, I just decided to do it with the flower. Now, I'm also not sure with hot glue if the quality of the glue stick makes a difference, like the actual sticks of glue that you purchase. But the ones I'm currently using, I just purchased from a cheapo, like $2 shop. And so if it does make a difference, then I've probably made my life that little bit harder by having not very good quality glue. Bonus points if anyone noticed that little moth flittering around my lights. It was really annoying. Not annoying enough to do anything about, but it's only one of those little teensy tiny ones. But it kept banging me in the face while I was trying to stick everything down. I'm really conscious of this stage. I'm so close to having this banner finished. I'd wanted to go to bed half an hour ago, but I'm so close to being finished that I want to keep going. But I'm also aware that my little man's going to wake up in an hour, and then I'm not going to get any sleep. And the next thing you know, it's going to be 1 a.m, and I haven't been to sleep yet. And then little man's going to be waking up again at 3 or 4 in the morning. And then he'll be starting his day at 6 in the morning. No, I'm not going to get any sleep. But I really wanted to get this done. So I decided to make the sacrifice. Don't we do that sometimes? Honestly, we just love our craft so much that we're like, what can I give a little bit to? The amount of videos I watch when people are doing voiceovers and do you know what I'm supposed to be doing right now? Cooking dinner. Or, I'm supposed to be cleaning the house, but I don't want to. It just makes me laugh. We really do try and squeeze every little minute we can to get our craft in. It's what makes us happy. It's our wind down, stress relief, chill out time. So why not? In general, we have so little time for ourselves, let's be honest, that sneaking it in wherever we can, we've got to do it. You may have noticed when I was sticking down the leaves then, sorry, I was too busy chatting on, is I stuck part of the leaf down with the Tombows glue, and I stuck part of the leaf down with some thicker. So it just gives, foam dot. So it just gives it that little bit more dimension, a little bit more interest. It's not the whole piece is stuck up, but I love that sort of the leaf at the end has a higher tip than the other ones. And so I'm getting really close to being finished now. I've just got to do these bottom little clusters and attach a string, but I do believe my video cuts out soon-ish. I didn't know this, but when I went to stand up and turn my phone off, because I record on my mobile, it said, you've run out of room on your memory. I'm like, oh, whoops, my bad. And I wasn't sure how much had been cut out. In the end, it didn't really look like that much had been cut out, so I just have left this go. But there is a little bit that's been cut out, so I will explain in the photos what you have missed, which essentially is the string. You missed the string getting put on, which is not drastic, I'm sure. And you missed me gluing on the something else. I'm not even sure. Just some other bits and bobs, I think. Oh, and some stickers, some little puffy stickers. So here is the finished product. I found a flower on the floor that I hadn't used, so I popped it up the top in that top cluster. I really love the way this looks. I think it is gorgeous. I tried to match the ribbon that is hanging with the color, the light pink color of the ribbon down the bottom, and I just love it. I hope you love it too. Thanks for sticking around, and I will see you in the next video.